Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Alex with Fathom Aquatics, and today I have something really cool I can't wait to show you. So I just got back from my fish club meeting and we had an auction on top of, we had a presenter talking and everything. But at the auction, I actually managed to get something really cool that I did not expect to get. It's a really cool fish that I've actually had on like a wait list that I've been trying to get for over a year now. And they're just really hard to find. And you know, I'm not gonna milk this out. I'm just gonna let you know right now what I got. I got Trout Goodeids, also known as the Ilyodon furcidens. So these are super cool. I'll get a little bit closer to the camera here. So these are my Trout Goodeids. I was actually gonna keep these in this 40-gallon tank. I was gonna set this up, but I decided since there's only 6 of them, I'm gonna go ahead and start them in this 20-gallon tank. And as you can see, this 20-gallon tank is empty. I just have nothing but moss in here. So I haven't been doing water changes on them. I've just been dumping fertilizer in them and putting plants in there. So I'm just gonna go ahead and clean this off, get it all nice and ready. I think I'll put some substrate in there, and I'll grab some of these plants down from this farm tank that I set up from the last video. I'll link that here somewhere on the screen, wherever. But I'll set this up really nice, and I'll get these Trout Goodeids in there. And hopefully I could get this done pretty quickly because I don't want to keep these in the bag any longer than I have to. So I'm up here on my step ladder and I'm just going to clean off all the algae that's been building up on the glass just because the light is like right on top of the tank. But I'm going to get this kind of good. The algae's not necessarily bad, it's just ugly. If I'm going to clean this tank up, I'm going to make sure I have all this algae off the glass first. And I'm gonna move my sponge filter into this tank temporarily while I set this all up. All right, so I got everything pretty much pulled out and I wiped down the glass on all the sides and on the bottom of this tank. Everything's stirred up. I took all the moss and I moved it over to this tank. Some of it's kind of dead, like there's some brown patches here from where it was on the bottom. So maybe I'll trim some of that back. But in here, basically everything in here is gonna get emptied out. I've got my water change bucket right here. This is a brute trash can, and I'm just gonna siphon everything out into here. And I've got a pump in the bottom of my trash can and a garden hose that's gonna take it all the way out to my yard. All right, so I got the tank emptied out. I put a couple inches of substrate here across the bottom. I put the sponge filter back in the back left. And next up, I'm gonna take some of the plants out of my farm tank down there that you've seen in the last video. I'm gonna put the valve, I think, in the back. And then I'm gonna take the crypts and put them in the middle. So I'm gonna be able to plant this out with all the plants that I got from Curtis from Skull Aquatics. And thank you again, Curtis, so much for all this. And also, Curtis has been giving me a lot of good advice about these Trout Goodeids. So I appreciate you, man. But let's go ahead and get some plants in here. All right, so it's kind of hard to see, but in the very back, I've got the valve, and right here in the middle, I've got a bunch of crypts. So let's go ahead and start filling this up. I'm probably gonna fill it and then drain it and then fill it again just to try to keep the water a little bit clear. And then I'll go ahead and add these fish. One of the biggest tips I have about filling up a tank with water that has dirted substrate or dirt soil on the bottom of it is to take some old grocery store bags and put that on top of the substrate and then also fill it very slowly. So I might not have to drain and then refill this again if it ends up being pretty clear. Usually whenever I do this, you could take completely unwashed soil and fill it up this way and it would still be relatively clean and the rest of it will settle over time. But this is the absolute best way of filling up an aquarium without it getting super cloudy right off the bat. All right, here you can see I'm just letting the water kind of trickle in and it's pouring directly on top of this grocery bag before it touches the substrate. That's gonna break up all of the turbulence and this water should be relatively clean other than the fact that I'm pouring it on dirt. So it'll be a little bit cloudy, but this is the best way of filling up an aquarium that has any kind of dirt or soil. And you'll start to see as the water level rises that the substrate's not going to be disturbed and it's actually going to look pretty clean. All right, so I just finished filling this up and this is no fancy camera tricks. This is just proof of how these bags actually kept the water clear as I filled it up. So I don't think I need to drain this at all. This is plenty clear for me, and when I take these bags out, you'll be able to see with the light. I don't know why I put 3 bags, 2 would have been fine. So you could see, no fancy camera tricks. This is how clear the water came from the fill up. Just plain simple, put some bags on the top and let the water drip onto the bag so it wouldn't disrupt the substrate. And this is just like a mixture of aqua soil and rock. It's the same mixture that I used down here on bottom left in my planted farm tank. So all these plants, since they're doing so well down there, they should do just fine in here. So the tank's looking pretty good actually. I'm gonna go ahead and get some dechlorinator in there. let that mix around for a few minutes, and then I'll go ahead and start adding in these Trout Goodeids. Okay, so they've been floating in here for a little while. The water's been dechlorinated. Let's go ahead and get this rubber band off the bag. This is double bagged, I like to see that. Now, normally I wouldn't just add the same water to the tank, but it'll be okay in this circumstance because they're going in here by themselves. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the camera and try to get some close-ups. All right, so now that they're in the tank and they're swimming around behind me, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm actually gonna turn the lights off for a little while, let them settle in. And you can actually see they're starting to color up a little bit already, which is really great. I can't wait to see some of the yellows and some of the bright colors start to pop out. But anyway, that's it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did, and I'll see you in the next one.